Hi everyone, for this week's discussion I chose to do option 1, and for my social change movement I did the ICE protests around the world. And I know I've talked about these quite a bit, but as a Mexican immigrant obviously it hits close to home and it's something that I'm passionate about and I want to keep talking about. So for my background information, I just said people were calling for change regarding ICE raids and the way undocumented immigrants were treated. They began to notice that police were racially profiling, even stopping people simply because they look like this stereotypical immigrant, which in this case would be Latino, dark or tan skin, probably speaking another language like Spanish, even just listening to Spanish music, or because they had a Hispanic last name. So for the first lecture content that I'm going to talk about, it was in the social media and social change lecture, in which you talked about how the role of social media and how it amplifies marginalized voices. And obviously I think with the protest specifically, all of these people who went out and who were protesting were the voice for those who could not go out, you know, the undocumented immigrants who were scared to leave their home, the people who got detained, the immigrants who were deported already, immigrants who self-deported because they were scared, family members of immigrants, anyone who's going through the legal process and doesn't want to speak out or is scared of even just getting caught because they look like an immigrant, right? So I think social media and its role in this protest itself was very impactful, and it was great because it was the voice for those who couldn't be there and who couldn't speak out. So to start off, I just said people were able to use social media to create these type of events and protests in multiple cities around the globe. And while most were in the US, even people in Mexico and other nations held their own. And this allowed us to see the response from the public as well as the government, because it forced them to take accountability and react accordingly, because they knew people were recording and they would have proof. So and again, like the response from the public I felt like was great, you know, because just knowing that there are people who stand behind you and behind your kind and your culture is just so amazing. And I have a little picture that I want to show you, and I hope you can see it. It's a map, and every single one of these little dots represent a protest that happened against ICE and against Trump. And once again, I think social media did a great job in helping people organize this, also as well as like helping us see that these things were happening, you know. And to kind of connect to the social media for social change article that we read, I want to talk about the specific part where it says the power of within social media and how it allows us to see the reality that has been entirely visible to some and invisible to others. As these injustices become visible, meaningful change follows. And I just feel like having all of these social media platforms definitely helped people around the globe, and even just in the United States, understand that in fact, like, you know, these ICE raids do affect people's families. And it's not, you know, even if it doesn't affect you, it doesn't mean that other people aren't going through it and other people aren't being hurt because of it. So just, you know, using social media, even just like TikTok, you know, we were able to get firsthand accounts into the protests themselves. We were able to see videos, we saw photos, we saw live streams, we saw documents, and so it kind of like brought out the compassionate side of people, because we begin to realize, you know, like, these things are happening, people are being affected by it, what can we do to help, how can we spread it, you know? So yeah, thank you so much for listening. Yeah.